So, I want to talk to you about being messy. In fact, I want to take you back to one of the most messiest times in your life, childhood. See, do you all remember when we were kids, how cute we were? The big cheeks, big smiles, big energy, big fun. But there was also something else that we were big at. We were big slobs. See, we were messy as all get out. We ate messy. We left things all over the floor, and we expected someone else to pick it up. We walked messy. We had stories of falling, being bruised, all the things of having Band-Aids, but also breaking things along the way. We played messy. Inside, outside, in the mud, in the rain. And somehow, all the things that were supposed to stay outside, critters, creatures, mud, dirt, well, let's just say they found a friend in us. And, of course, we lived messy. I believe our number one mission in childhood was to avoid the three most frightening words that our parents could ever utter out of their mouths. Clean your room. Y'all, we were a lot. We made a lot of mess. But here's the thing. There was something about the mess that made us. See, for every bite of food that dropped, we explored our tastes, we learned our habits, we built our connections. For every bruise that we earned, we were resilient, grit. We learned to get back up. For every moment of mud, we explored, we discovered, we played, we enjoyed. And for every room that went uncleaned, for days, for weeks, some of us months, we learned about shaping our own space. And that space helped us to shape our identity and our connection with the world. But here's the most enduring thing that many of us learned through navigating the messiness of childhood. We were never alone. See, there was someone in our life, some God, who helped to coach us, to support us, to challenge us, to protect us, to be the one that was standing beside us. For many of us, that person was a parent or a caregiver at first. But then when we made our way out into the world, that community expanded. The titles expanded. Teacher, coach, counselor, instructor, role model, boss, friend. All of these words made up one of the most powerful words that had ever been created in human experience. Mentor. See, since the beginning of time, people have mentored other people to become more compassionate, more capable, more connected, more human. Because being human is a messy experience. We all know we don't just learn from all the things that go right. We learn from our mistakes, our imperfections, our vulnerabilities. We learn from our connections to other people that help us to get through all of it. So mentorship is messy. And I'm here to talk to you about the messiness, the moments, and the mentors who change our lives, but who also have the power to change the world. See, I know it because I've lived it. See, I was that kid. I grew up in a large family in a small town called Brunswick, Georgia. See, my family didn't have a lot of means, but my parents instilled in us that we were rich in relationships. People was our connections, our currency. My mom was the anchor of our family. She held it down. She was also the anchor of our community. She ran this thing called the Auntie Network. How many of you heard of that before? Okay, we got a few folks. For those of you who haven't, let's just say that I went 5 blocks away from my house when I was a kid and got in trouble, which may or may not have happened. By the time I got home, my mom already knew about it. It was because somebody picked up the phone and called her. The idea was, your child is my child. We raised our village together. My dad was a preacher. My granddad was a preacher. So, of course, everyone said that I was going to be. All right, thank you, crowd. Now, mind you, I was only 7 years old at the time. So I went to my dad and I said, hey, everybody's saying I'm going to be a preacher like you. Is that true? And I'll never forget what my dad told me, because it's been the guiding principle of my life. He said, son, everyone has their ministry in this world. You have to find yours. Those words unlocked me from generational expectations, how much money we had, what I looked like, where we lived. And it showed me that I could order my own steps and create my own path. But what I soon realized is that that path wasn't a straight line. It wasn't always clear. It has bumps and bruises. It was messy. But what I also realized is I was never alone. See, it was this kid who thought his ticket out of his community to go to college was a football scholarship. And in the moment of adversity, I was hit with a major injury. And those dreams were wiped away. I fell into depression. And it was a mentor, my middle school teacher, Mr. Arrington, who stepped in and told me the same skills that I applied to being a football star were the same skills that I can apply to being an academic star. So I did. And it propelled me to be the first in my family to go to college. I went to college, y'all, and I experienced all the things: the connection, the community, the brotherhood. But there was also another side, because I faced moments of indecision. I changed my major, not once, not twice, 3 times. Okay, maybe 4. But again, it was a mentor, my college professor, Dr. Moshi, who came into my life and said, the change you need is not another major. The change you need is your heart, your belief and your confidence that you belong in this place. And it propelled me on to graduate the University of Georgia. And then there I was, graduated, head on to law school, I believed. So I decided to go home for a summer. And I saw this job in public housing. And I said I was going to interview for the job, but I was only going to practice. It's just going to be some practice that I would do before I go off to law school. So I went in, I interviewed for this job, and I met this guy. His name was Don Montgomery. I didn't know that he was going to be a soon-to-be lifelong mentor. He saw immediately that I wasn't serious about the job. But instead of kicking me out, he said, let's take a ride. And he took me to a playground in a public housing community. And he asked me what I knew about it. I looked at him and I laughed. I said, this is the playground that I played in as a kid. And then he told me, I did my homework on you. He said that this community had become a mess, and they needed somebody to help change it for the better. Then he told me, I believe you are that somebody. And then he said, you can always go to law school, but you don't always have this moment to come home and change your community. And it was within that moment that I found my purpose. See, I walked into that community to clean up a mess, but what happened is that community changed me. See, it put me on this journey, a 30-year journey of following my ministry, like my dad had said. And on that journey, that ministry was empowering young people to change the world. It wasn't a straight line. It wasn't always clear. There was bumps and bruises. But the one constant is that every step of the way, there was a mentor. So now, I stand on this stage as the CEO of the largest youth mentoring organization in the country. But even more important, I stand on this stage as part of a village of mentors and young people who are out to change the world. See, when I look out into the world, we see a lot that's happening. But young people is its power. Their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their energy, their enthusiasm. But I also see the world that young people have to navigate, the messiness, the isolation, the loneliness, the despair, the division. But I will tell you what gives me hope. What gives me hope is what I see in our mission every single day. I meet thousands of young people and volunteers who are matched together in these powerful relationships that we call bigs and littles. And here's how it happens. See, they start off as strangers. And when the relationship starts, it is a little messy. Maybe it's silent, awkward, uncomfortable. But then something clicks. And then they become more connected. Sometimes it's because of a mutual interest that they have. Sometimes it's because of a shared food that they like. Sometimes it's just because they're listening to each other. But the power is then it takes off. And then they explore each other's world together. They learn new things. They empower each other. And here's the most beautiful thing that happens from all of this. They become family. And they change each other's lives. See, what started off as strangers becomes friends and families that last not weeks, not months, not even years, but decades. And it's generational changing. So many people ask me, what's the secret sauce to this magic that's been happening over a century in the way that we think about relationships in our country? The secret sauce is actually quite simple, but it's powerful. It's that you don't have to be perfect in a young person's life. You just have to be present. Showing up consistently is the power that we all have. See, when you show up in a young person's life and you're present, they're 2 times more likely to be healthy, happy, confident. When you show up in a young person's life, they're 20% more likely to go to college. They earn 15% more across their careers. They essentially close the economic gap between them and their mentors if they started off in a low-income household. It is power in what we do. So this is the magic that we all have, to strike a match for relationships and spread wildfire of positive change all across our country. So imagine if we can do this. Imagine that in every school there are mentors that support teachers, students, and communities. Imagine that every company in our country has a workplace mentoring program that can support a workforce pipeline, our workforce economy, and allow people to thrive in what they do. Imagine that mental health communities, foster care systems, juvenile justice systems have mentorship as a primary solution to intervene in young people's lives when they most need it. And imagine if we invest in mentorship as relationship infrastructure all across our country that's interconnected, that helps to get people to places, to opportunities, to connections, in the same way that we invest in roads, bridges, and power grids. We have then created the most amazing power and the most amazing network in the world, human connection. See, I leave you with this. Just like when we were kids, often the success we find in life starts with the messiness we face in life. And just like my story, every single one of you have a ministry in this world, a ministry that just needs to be harnessed. But so much of it is fueled through our mistakes, our imperfections, our failures, our vulnerabilities, and most importantly, the connection to people who help empower us and stand right beside us. And never forget that life is messy. Humans are messy. So it's okay to feel that mentorship can feel messy. Because when you truly embrace it, when you truly harness it, it turns into something magical. This is the power that we all have, to turn mentorship into something that doesn't feel like a nicety, but a necessity for this world. And here's what I leave you all with. I want you to leave this room to be a mentor and to get messy in a young person's life. I want you to eat messy. I want you to bring people together around food, to engage, to shape, to inspire, to be your authentic self. I want you to walk messy. I want you to show your vulnerabilities, your imperfections, and show young people that it's okay not to be perfect, but being present and showing up is the power that we all have. I want you to play messy, to rediscover that childhood that we all have, and show kids how to embrace theirs so that they dream, they hope, they laugh, they love, they imagine. And finally, I want you to clean your room. I want you to clean the room of the things that are inside of all of us. Remove the baggage of animosity, of anger, of despair, of division, of hate. And show kids how to clean their rooms too. Because when we do, they go on to change their surroundings, to change their communities, to change this country, and to ultimately change the world. Thank you all.